only for doing them all. Whoa, wait, look at it. No. For only when you're in. I can take this off. No, I've done it before. I don't know.
Let's just go right up.
Set it here. So absolutely, it's a big difference.
Yeah, sure.
Brendan, would you mind tying that gallery back for me?
Oh.
Thank you.
Magazine, you find that's around 300 years.
Jim McKay.
Quartermaster's General under Lord Marlborough and British service artillery. So.
Of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. He has refused his assent to laws the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance, unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained, and when so suspended he has utterly neglected to attend to them. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodations of large districts of people, unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public records, for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of the people. He has refused for a long time, after such dissolutions, to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers incapable of annihilation have returned to the people at large for their exercise, the state remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasion from without and convulsions within. He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states, for that purpose obstructing the laws for naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migrations hither, and raising the conditions of new appropriations of lands. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount and payment of their salaries. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. He has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without the consent of our legislatures. He has affected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power. He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation. For quartering large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond the seas to be tried for pretended offenses, for abolishing the free system of English laws in a neighboring province, establishing therein arbitrary government and enlarging its boundaries so as to render it at once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule into these colonies, for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our governments, for suspending our own legislatures and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever. He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. He is, at this time, transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, desolation, and tyranny already begun with circumstances of cruelty and perfidy, scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous ages and totally unworthy the head of a civilized nation. He has constrained our fellow citizens, taken captive on the high seas, to bear arms against their country, to become the executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands. He has excited domestic insurrections among us, and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontier, the merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. Nor have we been wanting in attentions to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of our attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our emigration and settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity, and we have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations, which would inevitably interrupt our connections and correspondence. They, too, have been deaf to the voice of justice and of consanguinity. We must therefore acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation, and hold them as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war, in peace, friends. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, in General Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states.
The chains are broken.
That they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved. And that as free and independent states, they have the full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Signed by order and in behalf of the Congress, John Hancock, President. My brethren, may God bless these states united!
Independent American states! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! God save America!
Amen.
We're going to have the British whip by Christmas.
Indeed. Well said, Mr. Ennis. Well, friends, good afternoon. It is my honor to address you all this day. My name is Sarah Hollum. I am the dancing mistress here in Williamsburg. However, I do have a bit of a confession. I am not originally from Williamsburg, nor even this great state.
From your mouth to God's
ears,
ears,
calling
sir.
it Virginia. I am originally from New York. My brethren have come with me. I am the daughter of a watchmaker and the wife of an actor. Truly no one of consequence to any of you today. However, I am a member of this town and a citizen in its community, just as each and every one of you are here now. It is my duty this day to put into context the events that you are about to become a part of. Now notice, I do not say events that you are about to see, or events that you are going to hear, but to be a part of. Because today is truly a special day for all of you friends. Today, you all have the opportunity to become a part of a story that is going to resonate throughout history. And indeed, the actions or inactions that you make today will have lasting consequences on your children and their children after that. Now, friends, we just heard the stirring words of the Declaration of Independence, written by Virginia's own Thomas Jefferson. A change was made. Delegates elected by you all have decided that this is the best course of action for our new country, for better or worse. And friends, this is what you are going to have to do today. Make decisions. Decide, participate, make your voices known. Now, you cannot be passive observers today. Friends, there will be easy decisions. There will be hard decisions. There will be decisions that you know in your heart are right, and some that you might come to regret. But the choice is yours, my friends. I have already had to make one of the most painful decisions of my life. The first of many that this war, I'm sure, are going to see. You see, I have two sons. One, Mervyn, is 5 years old and is the apple of his mama's eye. The second, LD, is 15. 15 years old, and he's already taller than I am. And friends, I ask you, what is the age of recruitment here for the Army in Virginia?
16 years old.
16.
Adjutant General, 1st to our Southern and then Fairfax districts. Colonel and Commander-in-Chief of Virginia's forces in the late war with France. Vestryman, sometimes Warden to Truro Parish. Burgess, 1st to Frederick and more recently Fairfax counties. And last month, I had the great honor of being amongst the delegation representing Virginia in a General Congress in Philadelphia. From the martial life, I'm presently in retirement, and I hope to find more happiness in that retirement than ever I found in the wide and bustling world. I come before you this October morning in 1774, that I might discuss circumstances with you, the people, and stimulate you, I hope, into entering into a cordial agreement to purchase no goods from Great Britain. The taxes that have been imposed upon North America by the administration in Great Britain, these have enraged those of us who look upon it as a direful attack upon our liberties. What the end
people of the South, the Ani-Awea, the Cherokee, whose country lay in between, constantly suffered from both sides. Sheets of ice rained down from the north, and fiery winds blew in from the south. The Cherokee, as always, saw a need for balance, and they met in council. They were all agreed. They decided to bring about a peace to be ratified by a marriage between the two sides. Accordingly, the people of the South sent their daughter to marry the son of the North. They were married and moved among the people of the North. But soon, the ice houses of the North began to melt due to the presence of the daughter of the South. So the couple moved to the South. But the fields froze over and bore no corn. The couple despaired, for now the daughter of the South was with child. And so the Cherokee opened up their homeland, the middle ground, to the daughter of the South and the son of the North. And that is why this country enjoys the life-giving rains of the North and the crop-growing winds from the South. Sisters and brothers, once again, we, the Cherokee, find ourselves between two great winds. The British, who fight to crush this rebellion, and the Virginians, intent on separating themselves from their father, the king. Unlike the time before, we cannot bring them to peace.
Yes, the old ways are gone. Brothers, sisters, the old warriors are dead. And there are none left to care for the Cherokee. For all of you, and myself. We were once children of King George. He was our father, and we obeyed him as such. And we are also brothers of the Virginians and the governor. has endeavored to lead us into the light of their situation with the King of Great Britain. A father seeks to punish his children. A disobedient son struggling to become a man. My people, this is a family struggle. One that we must not be drawn into. Steve, this is what I have to say.
But what a dragging canoe. He has struck the war post against the Virginians. He won't even come in.
That is why Lieutenant Turtle at home must convince him to abide by the decisions that we come to today.
Oh.
Stay in this place all week.
You're stuck with me over here. I have to stay here in case they show up.
What's going on? Come up here. Need my picture stick.
What are you going to be for Halloween? A witch? I play one here sometimes too. Been to Cry Witch yet? No, sometimes I'm the witch and Cry Witch.
That sounds look like a good program.
I think so. It's been here for probably 27 years, so it's been a constant run for about 27 years. I haven't been in it for the whole 27 years.
What's the skeleton thing up the street?
Tomorrow, online, I believe, invited people to make reservations for the children. And Mars was donating this amount of candy for the Delta. As of today, about 7,000 children are going to be treated here until 8 o'clock. And after 8 o'clock, all the spooky shows are sold out. So we're setting up for Halloween for the next 2 days. So we got to do the bodies out of the How does it on Saturday is when we get the big
Good day, citizens. I'm Captain Ebenezer Denny of the Continental Line. And on behalf of the General, I'd like to thank you for gathering here tonight as we prepare for our impending engagement at Yorktown. Now I can tell by the looks on some of your faces that after being occupied twice this past year by British and Hessian soldiers, that many of you have had your fill of uniformed men and the havoc and pillage that they have brought to this fair city. But ladies and gentlemen, unlike those lobsterbacks who swarm through this town like locusts, we have not come here to deprive you of your property or your freedom, nor to conscript your sons. Nay, we have simply come this day to thank you. Every man you see here before you tonight is a citizen of these United States. We are your brothers, your husbands, your neighbors, and your sons. And we will ensure that the great sacrifices that you have endured and the hardships that you have made over these last 6 years, they shall not have been in vain. Now these Coopers, Taylors, farmers of Williamsburg, together with the regulars of the Continental Line, through great struggle and hardship of their own, have all become part of something much greater than themselves. And they stand here with pride to be inspected by their officers. And more importantly, by you, as fellow citizens. Doubtless, many of these brave men will not return from Yorktown, but this I swear to you by the living God that by the end of this campaign, the enemy, he shall come to fear the might of the Continental Line and come to fear the valor of Williamsburg men. May God smile upon you all. Sergeants and ensigns post, drum major, staff and assembly. Major, have an inspection car. Gentlemen and ladies, it is my distinct honor to introduce to you the commander of the American Artillery, General Henry Knox. People of Williamsburg, over the course of the past 6 years, the armies of these United States have endured difficulties unparalleled by any in our modern age. They have suffered hunger, nakedness, siege, defeat, extreme cold, ravaging heat, and indeed, we have all known personal loss. And yet, these soldiers still stand. Our cities have been attacked, set to the whims of a tyrant king some 3,000 miles away. And yet, these soldiers still stand. Our cause has been tested, our resolve questioned, and our larders emptied indeed. And yet, these soldiers still stand. They remain his unwavering bulwarks for American liberty. And when the call was made, they girded their loins to face the enemy. And it is by their resolve that they stand before you today. Not as fledgling militias, outnumbered and outfoxed at every turn, nay, but rather combined with our allies to form the most intimidating force this continent has ever seen. Then we will invest the enemy in yours. By the blessings of heaven, we will have the greatest victory in this war today. Make no mistake, And let it be known to every pair of eyes that looked at you just now. When we see the flag of surrender raised above yours, and our enemy lay down their arms, it is you we have to thank for it. May God bless you men. And may God save the glorious cause of these United States. Let us have 3 hearty cheers for our great general. Hip hip, huzzah! Hip hip, huzzah! Hip hip, huzzah! Captain, seating the general. Today, citizens, we first enlisted ourselves in this cause. We were not but citizens, untrained and untested citizen soldiers, fighting against a tyrant king and his legion of professional regulars and heartless foreign mercenaries. The men who stand before you now are proud to be trained soldiers in General Washington's army. By your leave, they'd like to show you the soldiers they become by demonstrating a field training exercise. Here it is customary to slowly pass or troop the national standard or regimental colors along the rank and file of the assembled men. It's done so the men can easily recognize the standard and follow it onto the field of battle. Take care to troop the colors. The men will now practice using Lord Edward Harvey's Manual of Arms, which approved the use of all Virginia forces at the beginning of this war. muskets and triangular bayonets. The musket fires a single ball, which has an accurate range of up to 80 yards. However, when fired in unison or by volley, it can have an effective range of 200 yards or more on open ground.
Places too. 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 15 places.
Look, dude, there's Halo. You don't see that. Oh, it's a video. There he is.
Obviously, firearms are preferred over edge weapons. If the enemy fails to yield to gunpowder and shot, bayonets will determine their fate. Major, let's have a message. The men will now practice with the artillery.
So do you.
Let us have 2 rounds of first and parade drill the second signal.
When they do it.
Gunners, attention! As on the parade ground, advance first. We're not pace. Advance sponge, 10 bed. Sponge pace. Handle charge. Over the bow. Charge pace.
cannon is a 3-pounder mounted on a grass off the pier. It is effective in providing support fire for the infantry as they advance or retreat. But as with the muskets, jam rounds will continue to be used without projectiles.
Load case! Moment of ball!
I don't. Dad, it wasn't loud.
No.
Was it loud? I don't want to be dead.
Look and pray! Gunner! Make ready!
Make ready.
Give! Fire!
We thank you all for gathering here tonight and showing your support of our troops. Men, indeed, on to Yorktown and to victory!